Welcome viewers to Historical Journeys. America's Roanoke province disappeared suddenly. It was begun in the beginning of the New World when a band of pilgrims showed up on an island off the bank of North America. They constructed homes, started cultivating, and eventually made a little local area. In something like 3 years, however, they had vanished, gone forever. So where did they go? Indeed, convincing new proof could now at long last address the riddle. The state of Roanoke shockingly disappeared in 1590. Presently, one master says he's addressed the incredible secret. But before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It only takes a second, and you won't miss any of our future videos. Let's get started. Indeed, even today, the destiny of the missing occupants stays one of American history's most getting-through puzzles. Furthermore, you ought to realize that the state was scarcely off its feet when lead representative John White passed on Roanoke, determined to source genuinely necessary supplies. When he returned, in any case, the other pilgrims, including individuals from his own family, were no place to be seen. What happened? Did the pioneers die in a rough fight with the powers battling for control of the New World? Or did they starve as they trusted that Smith will return? Maybe. On the other hand, they endure, leaving Roanoke for pastures new. Anything reality that has stayed slippery, and throughout the long term, the case has become increasingly cold up to this point. Indeed, in October 2020, another part in this entrancing story started to unfurl. As per the primary province establishment, an exploration bunch situated in North Carolina, proof has arisen that reveals new insight into the Pilgrims' extreme destiny. So has the secret of Roanoke been tackled unequivocally. The tale of the lost province started in May 1587, when a gathering of English pilgrims set forth for Roanoke Island, a little spit of land off the shoreline of what is currently in North Carolina. It had proactively been an ideal setting for one local area laid out 2 years beforehand. In any case, maybe obviously, that prior adventure had fizzled, and a large portion of the occupants had emptied back to their country. Unfazed, the second gathering of pilgrims showed up on Roanoke Island in July 1587. As recently referenced, they were driven by a man called White. He had been an individual from the principal cut-short settlement. What's more, as per the records, there were 115 men, ladies, and newborn children among their physicians, including the lead representative's girl who was expecting her very own child. After a short time, she would have the main English kid brought into the world in North America. However, only 10 days after this earth-shattering event, White had to abandon the youngster. Settlement supplies were decreasing, it appears, and he expected to get back to Britain to find extra assets. So towards the finish of August, the lead representative left his family on Roanoke Island and set out on the long excursion across the Atlantic. Tragically, White's trip took far longer than he had expected. Back in Britain, he found his main goal sidelined by the danger of the Spanish task force, which was determined to attacking the English Isles. In the end, following 2 years, Sir Francis Drake's powers vanquished the adversary, and a legislative head of Roanoke could at last return. When White showed up back on the island, however, exactly 3 years had passed, and on second thought of a flourishing settlement, he found a state that was deserted and congested. Yet were had individuals who incorporated the lead representative's own granddaughter gone. A secret keeps on tormenting America right up till now. After looking into it further, however, maybe individuals of Roanoke had very vanished suddenly. Nearly, however, popular as the Eerily abandoned province may be the message that the disappeared occupants evidently abandoned. As per a few specialists, the pilgrims might have ended up attempting to make do without assets in an unfamiliar land. The occupants of Roanoke decided to combine efforts with the Hatteras public living on Croton. Absolutely, the locals' information on the area would have assisted the expense settlers with making do as their provisions lessened to nothing. As a matter of fact, a few trusted that White's relatives, alongside the other pilgrims, essentially mixed themselves into the native clan. Strangely, this hypothesis was loaned further confidence in the mid-18th 100 years, when the English traveler John Lawson showed up in North Carolina and visited the Hatteras public. At the point when he addressed them, he was obviously frightened to find that a portion of their number professed to be of halfway Caucasian legacy. A couple of individuals he experienced had dark eyes, which would positively seem to propose an European hereditary impact of some sort or another. Were these individuals the relatives of the first Roanoke Pilgrims? Lawson appears to have accepted thus. In his 1709 book, Another Journey to Carolina, he estimated that the pioneers had deserted all desire for white's return. All things being equal, he closed they had decided to get their future in North America by intermarrying with the Hatteras public. Yet this is a long way from the main hypothesis that has been advanced to make sense of what has been going on with the lost settlement of Roanoke. As per legend, later, settlers in the locale set out determined to figure out the destiny of their ancestors. Furthermore, ultimately they met ahead of the writer and individuals. However, the story that Boss told was inauspicious. Clearly, he had butchered the homesteaders, potentially trying to deflect forecasts from local blessed men about dangers to his kin from unfamiliar raiders. However, while the story is positively an emotional one, there is minimal in the method of hard proof to help this variant of occasions. So were the Roanoke homesteaders cleared out by threatening locals? Did they blend calmly with the Hatteras public, or maybe accomplished something different happen altogether? During the 1930s, the writer Paul Green was exploring a piece about the secret when he understood that the Spanish had kept the settlement exhaustively. Might the opponent domain at any point then have sent off an assault on the ill-equipped pioneers? One more hypothesis recommends that the homesteaders, burnt out on trusting that provisions and resolve, will endeavor the return excursion to Britain unassisted. Positively, they possessed a boat and had potentially mariners fit for making the journey. However, in the event that they left on such a mission, they were lost suddenly. In spite of this hypothesis, however, there has never been a conclusive response with respect to what has been going on with individuals of Roanoke. However, at that point in 2012, scientists found something fascinating about a curio with regards to the English gallery. Known as the Virginia Standards Map, it was painted by White himself back in 1585, showing a portion of the early provinces along the eastern bank of North America. The guide remembers the youngster settlement for Roanoke Island. Be that as it may, when a group from the primary province establishment investigated, they found something unforeseen. There on the outer layer of the antiquated paper were two puzzling patches. Obviously, the region encompassing Site X was at last populated by English homesteaders moving south from Jamestown in Virginia. In any case, this didn't happen until the last 50% of the 17th 100 years, and the bits of ceramics are remembered to originate before this relocation. This appears to recommend then that the curios were abandoned by Europeans who went to North Carolina before the primary known pilgrims. Might they at some point have been brought there from Roanoke? Utilizing ground-entering radar, Lochetti and his group found one more expected site of interest only 2 miles away. And in December 2019, they got back to direct extra unearthings there similarly as in the past area. As per reports, the sections at what became named Site-wide are remembered to have come from various areas. Among them, specialists accept are bits of artistic from North Devon, Essex and London and Britain, as well as stoneware from France and Germany. So how could they end up here? As per the group, that ceramics pieces came from containers that were utilized to keep and plan food, showing that they had once had a place with a laid-out local area. And keeping in mind that it is conceivable that they were abandoned by later pioneers, Lochetti and his group don't really accept that that is their possible beginning. Perhaps of the most persuading indication that the stoneware dates to the Roanoke period. It's everything to do with pipes, or rather the absence of them. Obviously, the pilgrims and brokers from Jamestown would have constantly smoked from unmistakable mud vessels. However, as per the tractors, none of these were found at both of the Bertie area locales. We are extremely certain that these unearthings are connected to the Roanoke States. A delegate of the principal province establishment told ArtNet in November 2020, "We have thought about every one of the sensible potential outcomes and cannot find anything else that fits the proof." However, not every person, it appears, is in understanding. Unsuspicious paleontologist Charles Yuan from East Carolina College told Public Geographic, "The principal province establishment are hoping to demonstrate as opposed to trying to invalidate their hypothesis, which is the logical way. So in the event that these earthenware shards are not proof of the Pilgrims moving to Bertie District, then, at that point, what are they?" In a 2015 meeting with Public Geographic classicist Brett Riggs brought up that the relics didn't be guaranteed to mean Europeans had gotten comfortable Bertie region. As a matter of fact, the stoneware could basically have been disposed of afterward, rummaged by individuals from the native local area, just to turn up and bewilder specialists hundreds of years on anything of utility they returned to their homes. Riggs made sense of. They would vacuum everything up. An Ivor human excavator who once uncovered Roanoke Island added that connecting such an exact timetable to the finds was risky. Thanks for watching. If you want to stay updated with our latest videos, subscribing is the way to go. Just click that red button below and become a part of our channel family.